Good morning, Meridian, and welcome to Business Buzz. Today I'm joined by Ron Baker with Rizen Creative. Ron, I love Rizen's slogan, helping underdogs win.
Right.
It sounds great. Share with us a brief history of Rizen and the formation of this company.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you to the Meridian Chamber for putting this on. I really appreciate that. Rizen Creative, it's been a labor of love. The company is a little over 19 years old. Started out of a home office out on the outskirts of town because I had a son that was turning 5 years old, and I wanted to be there for him when he got on the bus for kindergarten. And what turned into, I wouldn't say a side hustle, but a side project, quickly became a business about 3 months into it. I was busier than I knew what to do with myself. I'd been in the agency business for years, took a shot, and it just kind of worked out. For me, I grew up in a background of creativity. I've had family members, mother, very, very artistic and whatnot. And so I was always fortunate to have that creative side of me. And so, this was just a logical progression, whether it was from, going to art school to, I went to Meridian High School, for instance, in 1986, I graduated there, and I still remember doing editorial cartoons, things like that. The point is that my background was always in that creative space. So it was a natural progression to start a company, and I've been grateful for that.
Rizen Creative helps companies come up with that brand.
That's right.
Share with me a little bit about your philosophy behind the importance of a creative brand for an organization.
Sure. I've always said that if you have a strong brand, and a brand isn't a logo, a brand is everything. Yep. It's from the way you answer your phone. It's the way in which you carry yourself. It's the way in which you have a conversation like this and how you tell that story. If you have great brand, then you have inherent trust. And the minute that you compromise your brand is the minute that you start to tell your audience mixed messages, which then, of course, ends up becoming, a question of whether or not you're legit, whether or not you're truly telling the story that makes sense to them. So branding is mission critical. And when I think of all the companies that I've engaged with over the years, it's always the top concern for me. What's the consistency of your story? What's our objective? Who is your audience? I always joke with clients that I say, no offense, but you are your own worst enemy. Clients have a tendency to get in the way of what's really important in terms of telling that story. They have to be the steward of their brand, but their customers are the ones that own the brand, and they are responsible for ensuring that the customer always gets that consistency of story. And if they do their job well, as in the client, you have customers for, forever. As long as you tell that consistent story.
Ron, a few years back, you helped with the branding of historic downtown Meridian, and Rizen Creative tends to work a lot with travel and tourism branding. Tell us a little bit about how that's developed over the years and some of the projects you've worked on.
Sure. Yeah. It's it was kind of a I'd been involved in that in my previous life, working in older agencies where we did a lot of great development of branding of planned communities, for instance, which kind of precipitated this progression into travel and tourism, where it's about creating something that inspires people to want to go somewhere. And in this case, with travel and tourism, I cut my teeth doing basically convention and visitors bureau type work, working with Boise, I've worked with Nampa, done work with Meridian, all along the way of encouraging the story of why does somebody come to those communities. And so for me, it's always been great because I love the Treasure Valley. I've always been lucky to live here and feel like it's a place that has a lot to offer, especially for visitors. And so to me, it's like, how do we best market this area? How do we best tell that story? And in the history of it all, I've touched everything from web to video to storytelling to branding. It's, there's so many mechanisms nowadays in marketing that allow us to tell good story, but it's telling that story. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you tell it and you tell it well.
Yeah. Well, you must have done your job well, because in the last 20 years, this area is no longer a secret. The word's out.
not.
Visitors are coming, and
And I
people
apologize to anyone out there if we've had any impact in that way. I mean,
no,
I'm
yeah.
joking, of course.
One of the things in looking at your company's philosophy and things that I really liked was you make the comment that taking yourself seriously is the worst thing you can do. When it comes to the creativity and the things that you do in your company, expand on that a little bit more. I'm interested in that comment.
Yeah, it's a funny line, but the premise simply is that we're the kind of company, we're the kind of creative firm with a philosophy that believes that, if you're too busy taking yourself seriously, sometimes you can get in the way of your own successes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that, be humble. It's okay to roll up your sleeves. It's okay to check your ego at the door and really dive into what the solution can be. You don't have to have all the answers to begin with. Working with Meridian back in the day, I didn't know the answers to what we did when we worked on that project together as far as historic downtown. But I'll tell you that, that not taking ourselves seriously, we went in and asked a lot of questions, and not of just smart people that are community leaders. I mean, soccer moms, people in education, small business owners, so on and so forth. And the point I guess I come from is when you come and talk to me, I'm not already formulating the plan and saying, Sean, this is how you're going to do it. I'm going to talk to your constituents. Yeah. I'm going to talk to the people around you, because while I have the tool chest and the ability to craft and create good things when it comes to marketing, I'm more interested in knowing who it truly impacts. And so if I don't take myself too seriously and I really dive in and get my hands dirty, really getting to know not only the product or the company or the service or whatever that is, it empowers me with the ability to take those tools and apply them to a great story. And so again, we like I said, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We love what we do. We're grateful for what we get to do every day. I still love getting out of bed every morning and doing what I do. And and it's not putting on a false facade and just going out there and trying to impress somebody. It's like, if I can help somebody solve a problem, that's my objective and that's my goal.
Speaking of helping, in the last couple of years, you've helped one of our really good chamber members solve with their rebranding. Yeah. I'm sure they won't mind us helping promote them a little bit more, but tell us a little bit about maybe the process that you went through with Solve and how that positioned them.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Solve's a wonderful story for us as far as a success story. It's a perfect example of when a client is willing to get out of the way and allow a professional to come in and really help them unravel their story and re-thread it together in such a fashion that it begins to be a bit more cohesive. And in case of Solve, Tressa and Jamie and their crew over there, absolutely incredible company. And when they came to us, they had all these wonderful services. They had all these wonderful solutions. They had all these great ways in which they help their customers. And, and their name at the time was a bit cumbersome. It was a bit difficult to put together as far as what it was that they did. And so much in the same way, like I described Meridian, I sat down with them and we really grilled them. We learned anything and everything we could about what their salespeople did, what their customer service people did, what the owners did, how they went about their process. And in the end, through extensive amounts of conversation and toiling over names and brand and whatnot, we came to the solution that they have today. And that was simply this premise of Solve, because what they do is they solve companies' problems when it comes to a variety of different business communication, business marketing, so on and so forth. And it really resonated with them. It resonated well with their team. We forced them all to get rid of their old, correspondence, shred it all, and then, and Tress and Jamie put forth a brand impression, which is of course what they're really, really good at. And today it's a very recognizable brand in that capacity as far as what they do. And I couldn't be prouder of that brand. I think that it's something that, when I look at it, it really personifies, again, kind of our core strength, which is helping to drive a strong brand that then is going to build a good customer base. And I think that they're doing that. I mean, certainly they've got an extraordinary building right here in Meridian. They've grown significantly. They're good people. and they carry their brand well. So anyway,
Well,
grateful for that.
I know I've been speaking with them. They've really appreciated your help and rebranding. If our members or our audience is looking to find out more about Rizen Creative, what's the best way for them to find you?
Well, we always joke. I mean, we develop websites, we develop branding, all that kind of stuff. But pick up the phone. You can call us.
Okay.
You certainly visit us online. It's rizencreative.com. Like I said, we're pretty humble. I'm not one of those guys that's a hard pitch guy. I was thrilled to come on here this morning with you and do this. But, to me, I've been very fortunate in my career to work with some extraordinary companies. And I think what you don't get from me is a hard sell. What you do get from me is a willingness to listen. I'm a good listener. And at the same time, just trying to find a way to help you solve your problems. And so, visit us online. Feel free to reach out to us any which way you want. We're on LinkedIn and all the other crazy social spaces, but yeah, it's again, rizencreative.com.
All right. Well, Ron, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thank you for being a chamber member and being engaged with us here in Meridian.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, thank you, Meridian, and be sure and join us next Tuesday as we bring you the next episode of Business Buzz. Thank you. Have a great day.